your money or your life. If a hoodlum came up to you with that, almost certainly you would opt for your life and divulge some money. You'll earn it back. Now, we have this horrible spectacle of Republicans who are only arguing on things about money when they should be arguing stridently about social issues that affect your life. I'm sure every one of you listening would happily pay a few more bucks to live in freedom, to live in a state where you have choice in schools, to live in a state where you have no restrictions on speech, where we are not paying for people who don't want to work, irrespective of the budget. It's just a perverse thing. To be able to have an individualism as paramount in government is something we should get back to. Every Republican, I think, wants that. Yet, so many Republican voters are mired in the, I'll call them nuances or even just minutia of tax abatement, which sometimes don't even come with spending abatement, which is the big deal. I mean, if you're going to spend, you gotta get the revenue somewhere. You can't indebt younger people. So I like saving you money too. And thus, in addition to these social issues that are so much more important that you will have me as an advocate for, candidate and hopefully as elected, it's the money saving that I do better than you've seen any Republican candidate in your lifetime. When Republicans say, gee, we should cut taxes, they're typically arguing about 7 to 10% reduction. I'm arguing for at least 40% and possibly 75%, that government of Connecticut should be limited to the necessary functions that only it can do better than community. And that means not schools. Community does schools better. What about all those charities? Oh, how do you know? Because ask anyone who's sent their kids to private school, which get almost no funding from the state, and they manage to do very well for their kids. What about all the other organizations that state welfare is helping? They're helping financially. They may be impeding them from doing good work because of their restrictions, and here's how they continue to get funded. With the state as simply a director of funds that people choose to put in their custody. In other words, nobody is obligated to pay for any of these charities. Many will donate to these charities directly. I do right now. Most of you do. If you want the state as an evaluator and maybe a conduit, fine. You could trust the state to the extent you want to put your money into places that you direct. Okay, that's the difference. You're still entrusting the state. I don't love that. You'll have a roster of all the charities, category by category, and you can put a certain percentage directed to each one. That is decent welfare. I still don't call it good, but it's better than what we have now, which is direction based on political influence, based on who whines the most. So finally, the greatest savings that a candidate can do is not in state taxes, it is in federal taxes. Please look at the opt-out plan that AAF presents, and if our candidate's elected, we will be letting you opt out of a big portion, I mean nearly 50% of your federal income tax. We will protect you. I'm Mark Stewart.